Ooh, it's cold outside. I like it. Let's go. So I want to tell a quick story. My mom told me a bunch of times, get recordings of your grandpa telling his stories, and I didn't listen. I should have. I didn't do it. And now I think back, and I couldn't tell his stories because I didn't live them. I wasn't there. But one of my favorites, one of the ones I can tell, Grandpa was missing his two middle fingers, his middle finger and his ring finger, up to that first knuckle there. Facebook. Up to that first knuckle there. And I heard a bunch of different stories on how that happened. Papa. I'm not going to tell you the bunch of different stories, but I'm going to tell you my favorite. When he was like 16 years old, he went into the Navy. And it wasn't legal to do that, but his dad was a World War I veteran and a welder and an iron worker, and he was basically a blacksmith for the oil fields. And he went and signed and said, yeah, he's old enough. And they took him and put him to work. And he ended up on a cargo ship. But his dad told him when he went in, and he went into World War II, you know. His dad told him when you go in, don't get no tattoos. And he, don't worry, Dad, I won't. Well, he come back with a bunch of them. But on this, Army had a big clipper ship with a banner underneath it. When he was older, you couldn't read the banner anymore or see any of the rigging or anything. But I remember when I was a little kid, I remember vividly, that thing had all the rigging, and whoever drew that on him, man, they did a good job. Anyway, that's not the story how he lost the fingers. The story how he lost the fingers was I asked him when I was a little bitty kid, I said, Grandpa, how'd you lose your fingers? And he says, well, we was sailing. And we got boarded by pirates. I said, no. And he says, yeah, we got boarded by pirates. And he says, this is my ship right there, you know. He showed me his ship. He says, and I was the captain of the ship. And the pirates come on board and started fighting. We were trying to repel the pirates. And he says, the pirate captain came up to the deck where my steering wheel was, and he fighting me, and I couldn't beat him, and he couldn't beat me. That dirty scoundrel chopped my fingers off with his sword. And, you know, I don't know how old I was. I was a little kid, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, you know. Whoa. I didn't fully believe it, but I never heard the real story of how he did it until way later. When I entered the workforce, I was doing purchasing for a company as well as I was one of the mechanics. And we hired a guy to come in and do a bunch of electrical work, and he had worked with Grandpa. And he told me the real story how he lost his fingers. Him and another guy were carrying a really big manhole lid over to put it in. Grandpa was a lineman. He was a high tension, high power, high voltage power lineman. He was a lineman. And they did stuff in ground too, because some of that stuff gets run underground. But anyway, they were carrying a manhole lid, and a truck backfired or something, and that other guy bolted and ran. And Grandpa he got all of his other fingers out from underneath that manhole lid as it was coming down, but it caught him right there, and that those two fingers were underneath there when it hit the ground, and it just smashed them flat, and they had to remove them. So they had to remove the tips. They went ahead and removed that bone too, so that they could fold the skin over so it wouldn't bother him as bad. And he said, yeah, take it as far back as you need to. So oh man, I tell you about telling stories. Nothing wrong with telling a story, whether you fell on your skateboard, or, swashbuckling with the pirate captain, and tell the real story after you tell the story for the entertainment value. Tell the real story, don't leave it. And as far as lying goes, man, don't tell a story for personal gain or to destroy someone else. Don't ever do that. That's called bearing false witness. When it doesn't matter and there's nothing to be gained by it, and it's just for a laugh, then it's practically telling a joke. In my book, you may disagree, and that's fine. But what's the fun of telling a story if you don't, if you don't spice it up a little bit? Well, all right, guys, that was my story this morning, and we're going into work early. We're going to do inventory. Woohoo! Inventories. We'll see how that works out. That was my big tale of brighter days. I'll catch you on the next one.